Alright, so today we're going to talk about picking a cartridge. If you're just getting into or want to get into long-range precision shooting, picking a cartridge for your purpose in long-range precision shooting. I'm just going to talk about the cartridges that I personally have experience with. Now, this is not all the cartridges that I have experience with. This is just all the ones I had loaded up that I could show you at the moment. But we're going to go through most of the mainstream cartridges that are easy to find. If you don't hand load, most of these cartridges can be had with good factory match ammo, which having some sort of match ammo is going to be a requirement for a long-range precision rifle. So we're going to talk about what you need to think about and what the parameters of each of these cartridges are. So there's four things that I would break down into, four categories that I would break ammo down into, or a cartridge down into, when deciding, when somebody new who asks me what to get for long-range precision shooting. There is, what is your budget, first off? Big one is a budget. So how much can you afford to spend? Are you going to be going out and buying because rifle is first off. Are you going to be going out and buying a factory precision rifle? There are plenty of good factory precision rifles nowadays. There's the Ruger precision rifle, which, I mean, these rifles, they may not be a custom built rifle, but they still get the job done, and they are a great platform for learning. And if you're just getting into it, learning is going to be what you're going to be doing. Are you going to be using your basic hunting rifle? I've got a series that I've been working on here recently. I've got to do the last video on it, but it's about taking a basic hunting rifle. We've got that video. I'm using my old Remington 783 and 308. And the entire platform, the way it's sitting for that series, is $750 from rifle to scope. Or are you going to be doing a semi-custom, which is like a factory action, factory action, maybe a factory stock with just bedded or pillar bedded, with a custom or pre-fit barrel. Or are you going to go full custom, full all out? Each of those are different price points. So depending on what you're looking to spend, those are kind of the things you need to look at when picking a rifle. Also, what kind of cartridges these rifles, if you're picking a factory rifle, what cartridges they come chambered in. Like the Ruger Precision Rifle, I do believe is like a 6mm Creedmoor. They used to be 243. I'm not sure if they still are. 243, 6mm Creedmoor, 6.5 Creedmoor, and now they even have the big boys, the 300 Win Mag and 338 Lapua. And for all intents and purposes, if you're just getting into long-range precision shooting and you're thinking about buying a rifle, it's going to be your first rifle that you're going to learn the basics. I do not recommend going with a Magnum caliber, because there's a lot of honing your skills and honing your fundamentals that need to be learned before you jump into a Magnum caliber. Another parameter is, are you going to reload? Reloading opens up a whole new world of options for ammo. It allows you to fine-tune a load to your particular rifle. It allows you to adjust the speed of your ammo if you want a load that is at the upper end of the pressure curve. You can do that and still figure out where your best accuracy is in that upper end of the pressure curve, to get you out to have the flattest shooting cartridge you can with reloading. But if you're not reloading, there are still a lot of really good options in factory match ammo, and nowadays factory match ammo is becoming a lot more prevalent. There's a lot more companies doing very good factory match loads, and a lot of these factory match loads are getting a lot more cost effective. Like the Hornady match ammo, in the last few years here, Hornady has put out a lot of really good match ammo for most of the really popular cartridges that you're going to find that you're going to be thinking about starting long-range shooting with. And most of the Hornady's match ammo is really cost-effective in comparison to a lot of the other factory match ammo offerings that you're going to run into. How far do you plan to shoot? This is a big one. When you're picking your cartridge, knowing how far you plan to shoot, what kind of distance you have available to you to shoot, what kind of distance you would like to be able to shoot with this cartridge. If you're just planning to go out to 1,000 yards, or that's your goal is to be able to get to 1,000 yards, there's a lot more options than if you want to be able to go out to 1,500 yards, especially if you're doing factory match ammo. And then the last one is recoil sensitivity. So if you are already into precision rifles, or you are a small framed woman or a young child, or if you're wanting to get one of your young children into it, recoil sensitivity is something you really need to think about. And there's a lot of guys, me included, when I was really first getting into this, that tried to blow off recoil sensitivity and act kind of macho about it. And some of these cartridges can humble you very quickly. Like the 300 Win Mag, I shot 300 Win Mag from a hunting rifle for about 3 years with hot hand loads, with no muzzle brake. And I will tell you that for about 3 years straight, my shoulder hurt every day. And it didn't stop me at all. I kept doing it and loved every minute of it. But there was probably better options for me at the time that would have served my purposes just as well without beating me absolutely to death. So these are the 4 parameters that I would look at if I was planning to get into long-range precision shooting, if I was just starting from scratch. So let's look at some of these cartridges. We'll start off with the basic 223. 223 is awesome because obviously it's the cartridge that is most prevalent in America. It is the cartridge that the AR is chambered in. It is the cartridge the cartridge is actually very accurate. There is a large bullet selection and a lot of different twist rates that you can either buy rifles in. There is very easy to build factory gas gun 223s or ARs. So you can build out a precision 223, or you can build a multi-purpose 223 that will stretch out to 700-800 yards fairly easily, with good fundamentals and good knowledge of your data, and can have a lot of fun with just a 223. And the rifle can be multi-purpose. Another thing is you can swap uppers, and so say you already have an AR, and I did a video on this a while back talking about some of the options that you can get into with just swapping uppers on a gas gun. So you've got the two that are the most common, and there's quite a few other ones, and there's some other ones that I personally think are better options than the 2 that are most common nowadays. But there's 2 that are most common are the 224 Valkyrie and the 6.5 Grendel. Both of these are very good cartridges that will fit into a regular AR platform and have the ability to stretch out to further distances than your standard 223. If you are hand loading, I've got in my video, I have a comparison video between these 2 cartridges. If you're hand loading 6.5 Grendel, you can get a lot of accuracy and a lot of distance out of hand loaded 6.5 Grendel. Whereas if you're not hand loading, 224 Valkyrie is a cartridge that has a good selection of match factory ammo, and all of it is loaded with heavier bullets, because that's the whole point of the 224 Valkyrie, is to be able to shoot a heavier bullet in an AR platform at slightly higher speeds than you would be able to shoot it out of a 223, and get out to distances much further than the 6.5 Grendel. And all 3 of these cartridges have absolutely no recoil. All 3 of these cartridges are cartridges that I would let my 6-year-old daughter, or my 7-year-old daughter now, All three of these are cartridges that I will let my 7-year-old daughter lay behind the rifle and put down groups, and cartridges that she can absolutely do that with. They are very, very mild recoiling cartridges. They all have very small powder capacity because they all fit in an AR, and they all are capable of doing some sort of long-range shooting. If you're looking to go out to 1,200 yards, if you're looking to go out to beyond 1,000 yards, you're going to want to go with the 224 Valkyrie. If you're looking for a cartridge that's going in an AR platform. If you're looking to go out to beyond 800 yards, and still have something that's hard hitting and something you could hunt with, and be multi-purpose, the 6.5 Grendel is probably going to be your option. And all of these can be very cost effective because you can just simply, if you already own an AR, you can simply just buy a new upper or build a new upper in any of these cartridges and be off and running with a whole new caliber that is capable of further distances than your standard 223. So the gas guns, if you're looking at these small chamber gas guns like a regular sized AR, these are two cartridges that will get you into the long range game fairly easily, fairly cheaply, and both of them do have match factory offerings. So there's one problem though with any of these cartridges that are built for long range in a standard size gas gun. All of them are trying to do something that they're really not capable of, and that is be a true long range cartridge. So if you're wanting to get into a true long range cartridge, now, like I said, they're all capable, but they don't do it as well as some of the cartridges that are standard short action cartridges. And short action cartridges are where you're going to want to go if you're getting it, if you can afford to either build a rifle or buy a new factory, one of the factory precision rifles off the shelf, the Bergaras, the Ruger Precisions, the Savage Stealths, any of those rifles that come factory with a chassis or a good stock, everything adjustable, ready to go for precision shooting. You're going to want to go into the short action cartridge realm. You're not getting into something like a Magnum is, like I said in the beginning, something that should be set aside for once you have really honed your craft and have really start to understand how the fundamentals and everything breaks down. So when you get into these short actions, there's a whole lot of really good options, especially nowadays, that you can shoot long range with. So you've got, we'll start small and go up. So you've got the 243 Winchester, been around absolutely forever. The 243 Winchester is a cartridge that is absolutely capable of distances out to 1,500 yards and further once you really start to understand your data. The 243 Winchester, though, the problem is if you are planning to buy a factory 243 Winchester, one of those factory precision rifles, if you find one chambered in 243, the problem is that those typically have a slower twist rate, and typically the match ammo that you're going to buy for a 243 is going to be lighter bullets because of the slower twist rate. So that is going to limit you to bullets that have a lower ballistic coefficient. And if you are learning about long range, ballistic coefficient is something you need to learn about. I have videos on all this, so if you are curious about any of the terms that I'm using, you can go back and search my library, and there's probably a video covering what it is and why it's important for long range shooting. So if you're getting into the 243 Winchester, great cartridge, lot of different factory offerings, really great for a hand loader's cartridge. If you're set on a 243 Winchester and you want to do either a full custom or semi-custom, 243 can be an awesome choice. If you're doing a custom, you're going to be putting a different barrel on it, and you can order a 243 Winchester with a faster twist rate, which will allow you to run those heavier bullets. And there's plenty of powder in a 243 Winchester that will allow you to push those bullets fast enough to really be flat shooting. So Another thing, the 243 Winchester is extremely light recoiling in comparison to a lot of the other short action cartridges. And because of that, a small child, now I would probably not be letting my 7-year-old daughter shoot a 243. If it was a braked 243, if it had a good muzzle brake on it, I might let her shoot it once she felt comfortable behind it. But I wouldn't just turn her loose with it like I would one of these cartridges that are built more for a gas gun. In the same vein as the 243, you've got the 6mm Creedmoor. This is one of my absolute favorite cartridges. The 6mm Creedmoor is a cartridge that is a 6.5 Creedmoor necked down to 6mm. 6mm, the same bullet diameter as the 243. So the 6mm Creedmoor actually runs almost the same powder charge as a 243, but the 6mm Creedmoor typically has a faster twist rate in its factory offerings. So if you're looking at buying one of those factory precision rifles that we've talked about, you're going to be able to find a rifle with a twist rate of 8 twists or faster, which is going to open you up to a whole new world of heavier, high ballistic coefficient bullets that can really stretch out your distance. And another thing about the 6mm Creedmoor is it has a sharper shoulder angle than the 243 Winchester. So because it has a sharper shoulder angle, it allows more pressure to build up inside the cartridge, which pushes the bullet out faster, so you can get more velocity out of almost the same powder charge as you get out of the 243 Winchester. But there's one caveat to that, is you will burn out barrels faster with a 6mm Creedmoor than you will the 243 Winchester. So there's a give and take there. The 6mm Creedmoor has a lot, especially in the last probably 3 to 4 years, it's probably more like the last 2 to 3 years, the 6mm Creedmoor has really gained a lot of popularity. And because of that, a lot of companies have taken notice, especially a lot of the factory match ammo companies. And now there is so many really good offerings for the 6mm Creedmoor, and a lot of them are extremely cost effective. So if you are not planning to hand load, you can absolutely get a lot of performance out of a cartridge with very little recoil. It has almost the same amount of recoil as the 243 Winchester, with more performance. But like I said, you also have the give and take of less barrel life. So if you're shooting a lot, you're going to be burning out barrels. I'm on my 3rd barrel right now in my 6mm Creedmoor, and that's in the last 2 years. So the 6mm Creedmoor, an awesome cartridge, but like I said, there is some give and take with it. And it is a fantastic hand loaders cartridge. If you hand load and you really look into the availability of things for the 6mm Creedmoor, the sky is the limit with what you can do with the 6mm Creedmoor. I have shot this cartridge. This is a cartridge that is capable of a mile and beyond. I have shot this cartridge to over 1,900 yards. And could have easily went further, and I have plans here in the near future to take this cartridge out much further. Going up from there, we'll have the 6.5 Creedmoor. I don't have any 6.5 Creedmoor loaded up here to show you, but I have quite a bit of experience shooting 6.5 Creedmoor, and the 6.5 Creedmoor is the big brother to the 6mm Creedmoor. Now, there is some give and takes with the 6.5 Creedmoor to the 6mm Creedmoor. First off, the 6.5 Creedmoor is probably the most popular as of the last 5 years. The 6.5 Creedmoor has become the most popular long-range precision rifle cartridge that there is. It is a cartridge that has become synonymous with long-range precision shooting, and there's a good reason for that. It takes a lot of the cues that the 308 has and expands on them. So it's a lot flatter shooting. It allows you to shoot higher ballistic coefficient bullets. The twist rates out of the factory rifles are right for these higher ballistic coefficient bullets. So if you're planning to shoot a factory or get one of these factory precision rifles chambered in 6mm Creedmoor, the sky is the limit with your bullet selection. There is such a large library of factory match ammo for the 6.5 Creedmoor that the sky is absolutely the limit with what you can do with even the factory match ammo, and most of it is extremely precise. So most of it shoots extremely well with low standard deviations, low extreme spreads, and will absolutely allow you to jump into precision rifle and take off and running once you figure out your fundamentals and your data. The 6.5 Creedmoor is light recoiling. It has more recoil by far than any of the AR style cartridges, and quite a bit more even than the 6mm Creedmoor or the 243 Winchester. But it is not a heavy recoiling cartridge. So it is something that once my son gets to be 12 years old, I will be probably building him a 6.5 Creedmoor to start to get him into the basics and start to really understand his data and everything, once I think he can really understand those things. So the 6.5 Creedmoor is, like I said, probably king of the hill when it comes to the discussion for long-range precision rifle cartridges. The barrel life on a 6.5 Creedmoor is over 3,000 rounds typically, so you're going to be looking at a lot more barrel life than, say, the 6mm Creedmoor, which I'm typically burning out barrels right around 2,000 rounds. So you get a lot. There's a lot of really good things with the 6.5 Creedmoor, and that's one of the reasons you hear a lot about it. Also, the bullet offerings, that if you plan to hand load, the bullet offerings for the 6.5 Creedmoor allow you to do everything from really fast cartridges, low BC bullets, to really high BC bullets with slower velocities. So there's a lot that can be gained from the 6.5 Creedmoor. And like I said, that's one of the reasons it is one of the most, if not the most prolific long-range cartridge to date. And then finally, we've got the 308 Winchester. The 308 Winchester is kind of the original. It is the old cartridge that the U.S. military still to this day uses as a cartridge for some of their sniper rifles. It has more recoil than any of the cartridges that we have talked about so far, but it is still not a lot of recoil. My wife shoots a 308. My wife is a small framed woman, and she easily shoots a 308 and can be accurate and can control the recoil. I would not be putting my 7-year-old daughter by any means behind a 308 Winchester, but I would put, when my son gets to be 14, 15 years old, I will be having him shooting a 308 Winchester, because it is one of the best cartridges to learn the fundamentals, learn how wind actually works, and to exaggerate your drops at distance to make anybody more precise. If you can figure out a 308 Winchester, any of these other cartridges will come much easier to you. So the 308 Winchester is a light recoiling round, or semi-light recoiling round, heavier recoiling than any of the other ones we've talked about. It has an absolute boatload. There's not a factory rifle out there that does not come chambered in either the 6.5 Creedmoor or the 308 Winchester. So there is more factory offerings for those two cartridges than probably any other of these factory precision rifles. And if you, like I said, if you are looking to do a 308 Winchester because you like the nostalgia of it, or you just want the cartridge that's going to help you learn the best, this 308 Winchester is absolutely capable of shooting out to 1,200 yards very easily, with good fundamentals and knowing your drops and your data very well. Just like I don't think I said the 6.5 Creedmoor, I have shot the 6.5 Creedmoor out to a mile, but it doesn't do it easily. It definitely doesn't do it as easily as the 6mm Creedmoor. The 308 Winchester, getting it out to a mile is a much larger feat. So the furthest I've ever shot a 308 is out to just over 1,500 yards, and there's a lot of drop involved with that. So if you're looking for something that's going to get you out to lots of distance, the 308 is not going to be your caliber. But if you're looking for something that's going to exaggerate everything so that you can learn faster and understand the data and the wind better, The 308 is there's no other cartridge that does that like the 308 Winchester while still being capable of long-range precision shooting. So these are the basic cartridges that if somebody asked me about getting into long-range precision shooting, these are the basic cartridges that I'm going to point them towards. Like I said, you have the 7mm rim mags, the 300 Win mags, the 338 Lapuas. I have experience with all these cartridges, but they are not cartridges that you want to start out with. There's a lot of guys who see the capabilities of some of these larger Magnum cartridges and think that that's what they want and they want to jump right into it. But if you haven't, you got to crawl before you walk with long range shooting. I learned on a 308 and I'm glad I did. And any of these other cartridges would have been great cartridges to learn on as well. They wouldn't have been as exaggerated as everything is with the 308, but that's what makes a 308 fun. So this is this is the cartridges that I would put forth to somebody if they were asking me, and I get asked this quite a bit about what cartridge to pick for their beginning into long-range precision shooting, and this is the conversation that I would have. So I hope this was informative. I hope if any of you guys are thinking about long-range precision shooting, or you're already shooting long-range precision and looking at your next cartridge, maybe this helps you too. So I hope this was helpful. I'll see you guys next time. I'm out.